This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration.
I never wanna get used to the sound you whispering in my ear.
Cringe With Me brings you all the best cringy, funny, and relatable content you could ask for. From the best of Reddit to the most outrageous advice columns, Ryan and V have a grand story to tell you. Check us out every Wednesday, your favorite podcast directory, and by the end, you'll cringe with me.
Okay.
All right, we are back on this week. Ryan, what do you got for me?
So I've got a disturbing and sad story that's pretty interesting here. This is from the Am I the Asshole subreddit, which is one of my favorites. I very much enjoy some of the stories I get on here. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Am I the Asshole? You tell a story, and then the question at the end is, Am I the asshole? Basically asking, was what I did justified? Does it make sense? Was I being an asshole? Were they being an asshole? And people can actually kind of vote to these, whether they agree that you were the asshole or no, you were not the asshole, or everyone is the asshole is actually one of the options as well.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah. So this story, the title is pretty good. Am I the asshole for how I reacted after I found out my husband ran a secret background check on me before we got married?
Oh, this is going to be so good.
Yeah. So it starts out there and it only gets better. We've been married for 3 years, and I only just found out recently that before we got married, my husband ran a background check on me and my family. I found out because we were on vacation with his family, and they were doing things I had no interest in participating in a few times, so I stayed behind. He let me borrow his laptop because I left mine at home. I made a folder with my name, and I was searching for it when I found another folder with my name. The plot thickens. The folder was full of reports on me, my family, including extended family, and 2 of my childhood friends.
Wait. The childhood friends too?
Yeah. This didn't extend to just the person. It extended to, again, extended family and 2 childhood friends. I'm assuming these childhood friends are probably friends now.
Yeah, like long life friends.
Yeah. So this is a pretty deep investigation, needless to say.
That must have been expensive.
I would think so. I haven't, hired a lot of private investigators in my day, but I think that they run a pretty penny on that. So I read as much of the reports as I could before my husband and his family came home for the day, which to me, depending on what they were doing, that's probably hours. Spent hours and did not finish reading them. That's how many reports there are.
I mean, if it's on that many people, I can see why it would take so long to read it. Yeah. Especially if she has like a large or even medium to large family.
Mm-hmm. So at first I was just hurt he would do something like this without talking to me first. But as I read more and started finding out things about my family and friends that I never even knew, I started to get angry. It's hard to put into words, but I felt like I had gone cold all over, but also like it wasn't me reading these things. I can't imagine what it's like to find out, dark secrets about your friends and family through this.
Yeah.
It feels pretty bad. It continues. So when I saw my husband, I exploded on him in front of his family. At first, he tried to say it wasn't a big deal, and his cousin chimed in to say it was normal, and he wasn't the only one who had done it in their family.
Run.
Yeah. When he saw I wasn't calming down, he tried to get me to go into our room so we could talk about it privately, but I told him I wasn't going anywhere with him and I was leaving. My husband told me to stay and he would sleep somewhere else or he would leave, but we were staying in a house owned by his parents and it felt weird for me to stay and make him leave, especially since his family was there too. I ended up staying at a hotel for the night and we both flew home shortly after that, cutting the vacation short. Am I the asshole?
No, I don't think she's that. Okay. If he had just done a background check on her individually, yes, it's a little creepy, but the fact that it extended to family and friends, that's the fucking kicker right there.
Yeah, which, it's funny that I think this ties back to a previous comment, or not previous comment, previous episode, but is this illegal? I don't think it's illegal.
It's only illegal if the information is blacklisted in the courts.
Right. So what was done is not illegal, but is it psychopathic?
Okay.
Per our previous episode?
I don't think it's psychopathic. I just think it's creepy. Now, I have done a criminal background check on one guy.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who was with a guy who said he didn't assault anybody when he was a teenager, but there might be reports on it, which I was like, that's a weird thing to say when I'm just now meeting you. It turns out he did. He did.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I felt a little weird background checking a friend's significant partner, but I wanted to know who I was dealing with.
Yeah, no, I
In
think
my
that's...
defense.
And there's a difference between doing a criminal background check and whatever this was,
yes, because
right?
this seems like it was so much more. Because a criminal background check, even if it's somebody with an extensive record, is rather short.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they are like Al Capone or something.
Sure.
But even Al Capone's, you could read it in an afternoon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so here's the other interesting, like, to me, notion behind this, right? Like, what is the context of why this would be done in the first place? Like, my first guess, and I think maybe only guess, is that he comes from a family with a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because the brother was all like, oh yeah, we've done this, like, it's a family thing. And if it's just the partner, I totally get that. That I can see. Yeah,
you're like trying to figure out, oh, is this person going to take me for all my money? Are they a gold digger?
Like, is this individual, because if it's just her, I would be like, okay, yeah, he should have told you, or at least deleted the material.
Interesting that he kept
it,
all the background checks on his laptop of all places.
Of everybody.
Never heard of an external hard drive storage? Something?
No.
But yeah, so that's pretty bad. Interesting question. Someone asks as a response that I thought really kind of got my noodle bacon a little bit here. When in the relationship did this background check occur? Right? And does that change the context of it?
I think it does.
Like, was this something he did 2 weeks into dating? Was this something he did after he decided they wanted to get married? Was it something they decided like right before the wedding?
Mm-hmm.
When was this done?
Yeah, no, I think if it's when they first started getting serious or when they decided to get engaged, I think those are two acceptable times to background check just the partner.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think it's a little odd. I'd never personally do it unless they like gave me a red flag. But when I see red flags, I run.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Mm-hmm.
But that I could understand. It's that at any other point, it's like, why?
Yeah. I could also see the argument for maybe you come from a rich family. This is something that your family does to protect their assets or whatever. I could see maybe being convinced by your family, right?
Yeah, no,
like, I don't want to do this, but your family's like, you got to do this. This is something we believe in. Or maybe even like, we're not going to, help fund the wedding or whatever, unless you like do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could see being like, all right, I'm going to cave and do this. But one, I would probably tell my spouse that this was a thing that was happening. Two, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't say this isn't a big deal as my first response when I'm accused of it. Yeah, that to me is the red flag response, right? I am upset about this. How could you do this thing and not tell me? Oh, well, it's really not a big deal.
Instead of, I'm so sorry, I should have told you, or hey, calm down, let's talk.
Yeah, well, and even hey, calm down is a pretty rough way to start a conversation with someone who's upset.
But that's better than belittling. Just like, hey, if we're calm, we can have a conversation. You can tell me how upset you are, and I can give you my reasoning.
I think there are ways to say, I want to have this conversation, but I think we need to have it in a less emotional space. But I think, hey, calm down is probably not the way to accomplish that.
So
I don't think
I'm a bitch. That's fine.
No. I just think that, in the history of conversations, at no point has anyone ever uttered the phrase, hey, calm down, and the other person has decided, yes, I will calm down.
Well, I'm just imagining in his shoes, like, oh shit, I just got caught.
Oh, yeah. No, this was probably a panic response of being like, I need to cover for this. It's not a big deal. That's the defense I'll go with.
That's such a bad one.
Which, to be fair, when someone comes at you hot and ready to lay down accusations. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're going to be put on the defensive immediately. So reacting defensively, not surprising.
But just the worst defense.
Oh,
ever.
Yeah. No.
Or no, I guess the worst defense is, that's not true.
Yeah. I think it takes a lot of practice and or grace when someone comes at you with accusations to not respond defensively.
See my response would be, hey, calm down. If somebody came at me hot and I didn't know why, hey, calm down. Let's talk.
Which, probably would make things much better for you in that moment.
Maybe if I find a better way of phrasing it. But yeah, that's how I respond when somebody comes at me hot and heavy.
I think when I'm on a good day, on a good day, when someone comes at me hot and heavy, it's like, okay, let's pause and I will listen to what you had. Like, let's sit down and tell me what's going on. Tell me everything you're feeling.
Eyes. What are you waiting for to happen when you get home?
Oh no, it's just that's just my panic response to everything, because confrontation is very scary.
Yeah,
for me.
no, I see it on your face. It's like you're afraid of me.
I'm literally imagining the confrontation, and that is enough to spike my anxiety. My anxiety is like, well, we're thinking about confrontation. How about you start shaking and sweating now? That would be good. Let's do that.
Oh, please don't do that. This is a small room.
Well, unlike the other nerds that I spend time with, sometimes I do wear deodorant, so it won't ruin the ambiance.
There's tea, guys. There's tea. Okay, we'll talk about your sweaty friends off air.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the sweaty neckbeards that I hang out with sometimes. No, but yeah, I think that, on a good day, you would respond with, hold on, let me listen to you. I want to listen to you. I want to hear what you have to say. We'll sit down. We'll air your grievances, right? But on a bad day, which, do happen, I think that I also would respond defensively. I don't know if I would have gone with, this isn't a big deal, because that is very belittling of someone's feelings and opinion.
Oh my God, the sibling jumping in, just no.
Yes, the cousin did not help. This is normal. It's almost more incriminating to be like, oh no, this is normal. Our family does it all the time. And you think this makes this better. Cool. Good. Yeah.
So you're never going to see what's wrong with this behavior.
Right. It does kind of set a tone of like, this is something we've already accepted is okay, and so you have to deal, which is not a great message to send.
Yeah, no, okay. The problem is this chick's already married.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even like she's like, okay, I'm done. Change your door locks.
Yeah. Husband of 3 years. Not great.
Oh my God. I hope they don't have kids. No, the kids would be there if they had kids together. Or there'd be some mention, I'd feel.
Maybe. It might have mentioned that. I mean, they were on a vacation. They didn't mention kids, so
yeah, like
feels
she
like
said,
there's not.
I went to a hotel and we went home early. I'm sure that the mention of where the kids went would be brought up.
I find it interesting that's one of the first things that you ask too, because I think it is a very cultural thing to be like, whenever you hear about a relationship in trouble, the first question is, do they have children?
Well, see, it makes it easier for the split. Now, I think a split should still happen if it's a bad relationship with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
It just complicates it. Not that it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, of course. I agree.
But that's usually why people bring it out. They're like, oh, well, then they have to work it out.
Yeah, it adds extra logistical problems to a separation.
And no, because I'm the first one to be like, I can change the locks myself. I don't need to call a locksmith.
Yeah. Okay, so
just like that.
Hypothetical time. We're in a hypothetical ourselves here. You find this information from your husband.
I'd be gone.
Yeah?
Okay, if it was just me.
We're not saying the response. Not the response to the accusation, just the action.
Okay, if it was on just me, him and I'd have a conversation. If it was on me and my family members, I'd be so gone.
Interesting.
No, and I know that part of that is that my family's a lot of it extra. If anybody's listened to the other podcasts that I'm in, there's a lot of drama, and I'm very upfront. Like, hey, this is my family. It's a lot. I know.
Okay.
And so the fact that they'd go, even if I didn't say that, the fact that they wouldn't just take my word for it, and they'd violate those people's privacy in that way, that would be a deal breaker for me.
Okay. Addendum to the question then.
Okay.
I like that we've drawn a line in the sand now.
Yeah.
You okay, your family not.
Yeah.
What if when you confronted this person, said, hey, what the hell, you did a background check on me and my family, I'm really not okay with this is a huge breach of boundaries. What if they responded with, I haven't read the background reports, I asked the investigator to find out if there was anything that would be dangerous or problematic to me and my family, but I did not read them. The intention was to know if there's anything I should worry about, and I would just wanted a red flag or a green flag. Bullshit.
It's on your computer.
Oh, okay, yeah. But what if you found out that a background check was done, but not the details of it? Like they didn't have the background check. There was evidence the background check had been done.
I wouldn't believe them.
Okay.
That's the thing is like, if that was the case and you were honest about it, like up front, like, hey, I'm getting background checked on your family, I'm just listening for red or green flags, then, okay, you fucking weirdo, but sure.
Ooh.
It's the honesty thing is the thing. If I found out in a third-party way and you were never going to bring it up to me, anything else that comes out of your mouth is a lie.
Okay, I like that. So now this brings a follow-up question. How would you feel if they came to you with the proposition of like, hey, my family does this as a normal thing for us. I want to background check you and your family and some of your closest friends before we get married.
Give me the list of people you're doing, and I'm going to do it twice to yours. If you're comfortable with that, then we can go forward.
Ooh, okay. Tit for tat. I like it. Why does that make it better?
Because then it's not this person has this weird power over me.
Oh, it's a power imbalance
Well,
thing.
it really is.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the
I can see
mom had issues as a teenager. That's a lot of like deep family trauma that should be kept within the family. And that's something you can hold over my family. That's something that if you wanted to blackmail us with, you could blackmail us with. I like to be on even footing with the person.
I have to say, this is not the response I expected.
You thought it was crazier, didn't you?
No. It's not that I thought you were crazier. I thought your conditions would be different.
Yeah, no, it's like if that's something that you honestly need, I'm not going to deny you a need. You just can't have something weird over me.
Interesting. That's so different for me.
Okay, now what is your situation?
So for me, I would not consider that this would not be a deal breaker for me if I found out this had happened.
Okay.
I would not take it as a deal breaker if they had, because again, they didn't do anything technically illegal, right? And to me, I'm like, I feel like there was a breach of trust in some regard where I feel like they did not trust me. But as someone who trust is a very difficult thing to cultivate, I can understand lack of trust. I can understand suspicion and fear motivating some kind of wanting a safety net, a sanity check, a rope to hold on to. I can get behind that. I don't like it. I don't feel good about it. I wish they had told me. I would like to be in a relationship where if they were going to background check me, they would just tell me they wouldn't do it.
And your family and your closest friends?
And for me, my condition for that would be if someone said, hey, I want to marry, but I really want to run this background check just because I have fear, insecurity about all these things, whatever. I'd be like, yeah, okay, good. They said, I want it to your family and closest friends. My response would be, you can do that with their permission.
Oh, that's
I would
so much
want
worse.
their consent about it. Where I'd be like, if you can get their consent to run the background check, I'm fine with that. But if you do it without their consent, that's a problem to me. Because to me, it's about if you're not going to trust them, you have to own that you're not trusting them, and you have to own that this feels required for you. And if you can explain that in a way that feels okay, they will understand or they won't. But that's between you and them now, and it's not on me to decide what you know about someone else because I feel uncomfortable with that, right?
So, if you were OP and you're, just chilling in a hotel and you come across this on your computer, what would you be thinking on those hours before your partner comes back?
Well, it depends. So the thing that really gets me is not it's not the knowing that it happened. Knowing that it happened and being like, wow, I feel upset. I feel like there was a breach of trust here and I want to have a conversation about it. I want to understand why they didn't trust me. I want to understand if there's something I did that made them feel that way, or if there was like something that kind of alarmed them about our relationship or the circumstances around it. I would have a lot of questions. I'd have a lot of questions. The thing that I think would be rough is the middle part where it's started finding out things about my family and friends that I never even knew. That's the part that worries me, right? It's knowing things about my family and friends that they had not told me, most likely because they did not want me to know those things, right? If it's your family and closest friends and you don't know things about them, it's because they have not told you. They have chosen not to give you that information.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think.
I don't like
too open.
My family is too. I'm not sure there would be a lot of secrets about my family that I don't know about. There could be some. I don't think there are because of the way they talk. For me, it's more of an interest in like, what did I just learn about people that they didn't want me to know, and how do I feel about that? And that's, I think, the part that feels pretty bad about it. And that's why I have the consent thing, because I'm like, if my friends have things they don't want people to know about them, I don't want to know about them, and I don't want my spouse to know about them.
What if they do the background check anyways? They accept your condition and
then do it. Well, then that is a deal breaker for me, because that is I agreed to do a thing and I lied and didn't do it. Right? That you've broken an agreement. You've broken an agreement. Right? You've broken you've broken your word, and that is a pretty big red flag. Right? And with something that big, there's not a lot of justification, right? People in relationships do sometimes lie to each other. They do occasionally break agreements. A lot of times when that happens, there's some understanding of why it happened, where you can be like, okay, Maybe this was a circumstantial thing. Maybe there's a thing we can work through this. Maybe we can change this. But if you said to me, all right, I will follow your conditions about this thing. I agree to them. I understand them. And then just deliberately ignore them. There's nothing there. There's nothing to justify.
What if they don't, like, they ask for consent, the people say no, and they do it anyways? Because then they followed your rules. They just didn't follow through with.
Oh,
You're so pink right now.
that's
You're
complicated.
as pink as
That's a hard one to answer. This gets into some ethical space that I feel like is difficult to untangle. My first instinct is that's still a breach of agreement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I chose my words poorly and didn't say
I found
you
a
need.
loophole.
Yeah, I think obviously this would be more than a one sentence thing that I would have said to them, and I'd be like, you need their permission to do a background check on them. Is the agreement that I am setting up, right?
Okay.
So if they do not have their permission and they do the background check anyway, that is a breach of the agreement, as I am seeing it. If I chose my words poorly and did not explain that well, that's kind of on me too. And there might be space there to negotiate a continuation of that connection.
Man, that's a good one. I think having them ask for permission is a good way of going about it.
That's why I was like, oh, your thing is like, oh, I want it to be even. I want dirt on their family too. And I'm like, you don't care if the people know that this is happening? This is my first thing is like, I don't want my friends and family to have background checks on them without them knowing.
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of dirty. But, like, I come from a very different family than you.
Sure.
We all have dirt on each other.
Okay.
So it's not that weird to me to know, like, I know so-and-so, like, adopted out their first kid or, like, cheated on their spouse. Like, so much dirt, which I'll never out you on air. I'm not that mean. I like to think of myself as one of the nicer members of our family.
We could bring them all in here and we could interrogate them and figure out if that's true.
I'll be even more disowned than I currently am. All right. At that, we'll say goodbye for now, guys. We'll see you next week. I'll have something interesting to say. I don't know if it'll be as interesting as this, because this was a juicy episode. All right, bye.
Goodbye.
Connect with us. Follow us on social media: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at Cringe With Me. Everything is linked in the description of this podcast. Cringe With Me podcast is a production of Pull Up the Chair Foundation. All opinions in this podcast belong to the host and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network.
I never wanna get used to the sound you whispering in my ear.
Hello, I am Patrick,
And I'm Andrew. And I'm Christian.
And I'm Allie.
and we are Rad Theater, a podcast where a bunch of friends play role-playing games and share a single brain cell, and the GM doesn't always have it. Oh, and it's theater spelled the correct way, Theatre.